So hello and welcome back to another video. Now today I've decided to come out on a complete last minute decision win. Now my plan this afternoon was actually to go and try for a bass for a couple of hours. However, I was driving home and I thought to myself, I want to try for a mullet. So I quickly stopped at the shop, grabbed a couple of loaves of bread, popped home, got all my gear, and now I'm here. Now I'm at a very popular market, it's the Lace, towards the north of the island in Guernsey, and I'm just waiting for that tide to go down a little bit now. Because this isn't planned, I'd looked at the tide times, the tide's going down. However, I didn't look at swell charts or anything like that. As I've driven up here, I've seen some rollers come in at Fort Doyle, and believe me, they are huge. There's a big swell today. Now, on a calm day, I'd be able to cross that already because there's a few boulders you can stand on. However, there's waves coming through and there's no chance that I'm getting across that. I've got 2 rods, a bucket, a bag, a net, a tripod. There's too much to carry and those rocks are deadly. So the plan is today, I'm going to be float fishing for a mullet, making a little bit of ground bait up and chucking that in the water. If I catch anything else like mackerel or garfish on the float gear, I'll be more than happy as well. And I've also got a 7-foot spinning rod with me, and I've got 2 metals, one 20 gram, one 40 gram. So I'll be throwing those out as well to try for a mackerel. I have no idea if there's been many mackerel caught off here lately because I haven't tried myself. They're still in with the chance, we're in September, so they'll still be around, but whether they're around in big numbers at all, I really have no idea. So that's the plan. I'm just going to give it sort of 15 minutes or so, and then hopefully I can get across there. I'll set the rods up, I'll get the ground bait made, the bread mix, and then get that in the water straight away, chuck the float in, and then whilst I'm waiting for any action to happen, I can flick a few lures about. Right, so I've just made it over the rocks. Now I have to do that in 2 trips because the waves coming in there is pretty sketchy. You definitely want one hand free just in case you slip. But anyway, I've made it over. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wait for a little bit until I put a float in because that swell is tearing through here. I think it's just going to, the float's just going to shoot off. I think the tide's running too hard still. So what I'm going to do just for the first 20 minutes or so is chuck out a metal. Now I've got a little 40 gram metal here from Major Craft. It's called a MK Slow jig, 40 grams. And I'm just using a 7-foot Penn conflict inshore bass rod with a 4,000 size reel on there. It's a Shimano Sahara, and I've got 15-pound braid. So I'm going to flick this out. I've got the wind cutting across me, so you're going to have a lot of slack line out the water, but hopefully we can pick up a mackerel. So let's give it a go. Well, you wouldn't believe this, but I'm into a fish on the first cast, and I swear to God, I didn't even turn the reel. That took it on the drop. Pretty sure it's a mackerel. Fighting hard against that tide. Just trying to wind it in so it don't come off. Where is it? Yeah, that's a lovely size mackerel, that. Lovely mackerel there. God, it's really well hooked. That was unreal because that was honestly first cast in with that metal jig, and I didn't even reel. I did not even reel the line. We have a nice mackerel there. So that's a brilliant start. Whoa, whoa. I'll be giving him a knock on the head and we'll get back in. Well, you gotta love it when that happens. First cast in. Now I managed to get that quite far, and it was round about that area. I let it keep sinking, flicked over the bail arm just like that, and then as soon as I wound the slack in, I was into a fish. And as I said, that tide's ripping through here, so when you actually hook something, especially far out like this on a metal that you're banging out a long distance, they certainly put a bend in the rod. Let's just hope that's not the only one. We don't want the first cast curse. But nice to see they're still about as well. Obviously we are in September, so it's still a great time of year to fish for mackerel, but I honestly haven't been here in quite some time, so didn't really have a clue if they were still being caught here or not. Look at that swell. Yep, I'm in again. This doesn't feel like a mackerel though. Where the hell is it? That's a mackerel, bloody hell. Oh my god, it's two. Unbelievable. Two big mackerel. Look at the size of that one. That's massive. Look at that. Wow. Check that out. Two mackerel on one lure. This one's a tank. That's got to be over a pound for sure. There we go, check that out. That is a big mackerel, that. It's just popped off. Check that out. That's a lovely sized mackerel. I honestly thought I got hit by a bass or something when that was really close in. I honestly thought I got hit by a bass. Two mackerel and one lure. Awesome stuff. So here's a bit of a closer look at the lure I'm using. Now I apologise about the wind noise because the wind's howling across here. But it's a Major Craft SK Slow 40 gram. It's got a nice little flashing plate on the back there. I've never used this kind before, and I actually bought this from Chesil Bait and Tackle when I was over in Dorset last week. I like a 40 gram lure on a windy day because you can get that distance on it no problem. This rod throws up to 50 grams, so it's absolutely ideal for it. You know it's going to be giving off a load of flashing silver in the water, and the water's crystal clear, so any fish that are close by are going to see that, no problem at all. Well, I wasn't expecting to get a double hookup. Ah, they chased it all the way in then. There's about 3 of them down there. I reckon as soon as I get a bit of ground bait made up, I can attract them closer in, so I might do that soon. Probably attract the garfish as well, but hopefully if there's mullet around, it will also attract them in. I don't believe it. I've only gone and snagged that bloody lure. Oh, that is right on that rock. I know exactly where that is. That ain't coming off. I thought I'd let it sink a little bit deeper that time. And there's a bloody rock. I know exactly where that rock is. I thought I'd just cast to the left of it. Caught it on there. I had to snap it off. Brand new lure, gone. Right, well that's going to bring an end to things for the time being. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up some chum mix now and get that in the water, and then afterwards I'll sort that rod out and maybe put another metal on. I've only got one more with me, so maybe I'll have to get the float in the water. Right, so in here just got some water out of a pool down there, and I'm going to break up this loaf of bread. Now I did also bring one packet of bluey with me that I had in my freezer, and I've had them in my freezer for literally like 2 years, but I thought that maybe if the garfish are around or something like that, I can either set another float up on the spinning rod and put a bit of bluey on or something and try and catch them, or even the mackerel. Let's put that in there. We've got a bread in there, just mix it up. And then I am going to add a little bit of fish oil as well, because I've got a little bit with me and it's so old I need to use it up. And as I said, I'll be happy just to catch mackerel on the float, to be completely honest, and mullet will just be a bonus. So the fish oil will attract the mackerel and the garfish in. I'm just going to put a drop in there, not too much. And that's where the ladle comes in. Give it a mix. And I'm going to get some in the water straight away. And I'm just going to fish from this bit for now because still don't want to chance it down there until that tide drops a bit more. So we'll load it up to start with, and then I'll just keep adding a ladle or so every now and then. There we go. So what I'm using, 12-foot Daiwa Theory Specialist rod. Very flexible, ideal for mullet. 4,000 size reel. I've got 8-pound mono all the way through. And then I'm using, I think this is a 5 gram, could be a 4 gram. It's a 4 or 5 gram float. It's quite difficult to do this in the wind. You may be able to see there. Float, 4 or 5 gram little bullet weight on there. And then I've got about 3.5 foot of hook length, and I'm using a size 10, a little size 10 hook. Now this is a Kamazan something or other, I can't remember what. And then all I'm going to do is just pinch a bit of bread off, basically wrap it round the hook, have a little bit of hook exposure. The little bits you end up pinching off can go in the bucket. That was a good shot. And this bread isn't actually the best, but it's gonna have to do. And that's it. Just a tiny little bread bait there. Oh God. So I'm gonna throw this out and hopefully attract a big mullet. Now we'll see how we get on with that. And what I want is for it to, I don't want it to drift too much. I want it to stay in pretty much the same place really. It can drift around a little bit obviously, but I just don't want the tide to tear it through. It looks like it's going to be okay there. Probably when you get further around the corner here, you'll get the drift because the tide's going to push in that way. It's running south, which is that way. Fish on the float. Oh, it's a bream. Lovely bream. Come on, I'm going to lift it. Don't snap my rod. Boom. I can't believe how close in that was. Well, I literally just rebaited and chucked the float in really close. And all of a sudden, it just disappeared. I turned around to get my other rod. It's going to kick. Check that out. Nice black bream there. Another fish down. Well, these rocks certainly aren't easy to navigate your way around. But I absolutely love fishing like this because you're fishing on such light gear. You know, you hook a bream that size, that bream's only about a pound, and it just starts peeling line. You get a massive bend in the rod. And it's just so much fun. This is why I've been trying to catch a mullet for so long this year, because I really think once I get one, it's going to be the type of fishing that I'll really get into. So I literally just dropped that no further than 6 feet away, and within, I reckon, a minute the float was under. So we'll do the same again and see if there's any more in there. And what I was doing just then is putting that other lure onto the lure rod. I've just gone straight onto the braid, so I don't have any leader with me. I was about to cast it out and I literally looked down and the float it just disappeared. Now then, did that take the bait maybe? Float shot under there. Hopefully it's not pinched the bread and it's going to come back. Bloody hell, I thought that was going to be a mullet then. It's a wrasse. A pretty big wrasse as well. Jesus. Another species. Oh no. How am I going to guide this around? Oh no. Come on, mate. Come this way. Oh. There we go. We got him. Oh, oh, I love this. I absolutely love it. It's not actually that big, but bloody hell. God. There we go. Whoa. Nice ballan wrasse there. Another species down on the float. Now what I need to remember to do, chuck that back down there. So it's obviously surprising how close fish can be sometimes. I mean, obviously wrasse are going to be right down under here anyway, but to say you're catching bream 6 foot away from you, if you were here with a bait rod you'd be blasting it out 40-50 yards. So oh, there's another hit. That was definitely some kind of hit then. So yeah, it just goes to show the ground bait works so well. All the fish come in with that scent, and you'll attract a variety of species as well. When you're fishing for mullet, you know, you'll be attracting bream and mackerel and garfish and even bass, all sorts. Now you'll be able to see now, obviously with that tide dropping, that swell has calmed right down. So you've still got it rolling around there, but it's nothing compared to what it was. Another wrasse. Should be able to lift this one up, I think. Oh God. Whoa. He's only a tiny one. Still nice to see. There we go. Another little wrasse, just a baby one. Oh no, he's nailed that. He has absolutely nailed that. So it's been non-stop action. Now that little wrasse, unfortunately, is because it's such a small hook, it's taken it all the way down to the throat. So I've had to cut it. I've put the fish out of its misery, which obviously I'm not going to show on camera, and I'm going to keep that because I'll give it to Jay for pop bait. It's only a very small wrasse, so it's really unfortunate, but it won't go to waste. I'll give it to Jay for pop bait. Now I'm just going to have a 5-minute breather and have a coffee because you can't take your eyes off the float. Now I do actually want to get that lure back in there as well, so I might have a few flicks with that, but I need to put a new hook onto my trace now, and then yeah, in 5 minutes time I'll get back to fishing. So I've put that rod in the tripod. I'm going to see if I can get away with a flick of this lure. Now my first lure I got, my brand new one, is somewhere on that rock sticking up over there. If it was a big spring tide, probably be able to, well, possibly be able to get to it and retrieve it, but there's no chance that's happening on a tide like this. So that's gone for good. So I've come down to these lower rocks now. It's actually all right because I got a bit of shelter down here. The only thing is it keeps raining. There's black clouds, thick black clouds over there. And when it rains, these rocks are deadly. Now, I've got the float out, and you might be able to see behind me. I've been chumming this area, and you can see the slick going out there. You can see the seagulls coming down and taking the bread off the surface. So I'll flick the float rod out, and then I'll have a few casts with the lure. And I'll probably give it, I don't know, half an hour or so from here. If the weather's going to take a turn, then I'll head off. But yeah, it's been a fun session so far. So much fun, like float fishing. It really is. Now, I'm surprised we haven't seen any garfish yet. I've not seen any at all. Normally this place is loaded with garfish. So you would have thought they would have come in on that slick, but haven't seen any signs of any garfish yet. But we'll give it a few more blasts with the little metal lure as well. It's only 20 grams, so I won't be able to get this one quite as far out. But hopefully with that chum in there, any mackerel that are around, if they're around, will be close in. Into another fish, and it's another black bream. Where's the pull? There we go. Just a small one, this one. That's what's been hitting me. Well, it's another fish. Now what I've been doing is, because I'm not staying for too much longer, I've been chumming the area really heavily. I had that one hit before, and then obviously just had that little bream, so I'm guessing I've attracted a few of them in. I've seen no mullet at all, not even swim by, which is odd because the last time I was down here, I was mackerel fishing quite a while ago, and there were mullet everywhere. They kept chasing the lure in. But that's always the way. Whenever I'm out bass fishing or mackerel fishing, I'll see loads of them. When I go and target them, they're nowhere to be seen. Well, there's certainly some fish around here because I'm getting so many bites. I'm just missing them. I think they're bream because on one of the occasions just then, as I lifted in, look, straight under. Oh, could be garfish in here. Oh, come on. That was literally as soon as I cast out. It could be garfish as well, but I saw what looked like a bream come up and hit a bit of bread on the surface. Might be worth chucking the metal in there. Try and hook one that way. They're so annoying, garfish. Just turned the camera off, thinking I turned it on. I knew immediately that was... Has it come off? Oh no. I knew immediately that was going to be a foul hooked garfish because that felt weighty. Look at that, right through the side. That's a big old garfish, that. Well, they're not the nicest of creatures, but it's another species for the day. Little garfish there. Foul hooked because as soon as I hooked that, it felt a hell of a lot bigger than what it is. But I'll be keeping that for bait. yeah. And they go mental. There we go, lures out. I'm going to give this one a knock on the head. And we'll put him down there with his buddy. And we have another mackerel. I was just casting out into a different area thinking I want to avoid the garfish, see if there's any mackerel about. And what happened there was exactly what happened on the very first cast I had when I came here. I banged the lure out as far as I could get it, and as it was dropping I felt this fish take. He's taking it through the gills, so definitely going to be keeping this one. He's certainly not going to be surviving, but another mackerel there. Awesome. So that brings an end to my session for this afternoon. I've just started packing up the rods and packing up all my gear. Got a lot of stuff to take back to my car and get back over those rocks. So I better start clearing up now, but it's been so much fun. Obviously I didn't manage to get the target species today, which was the mullet. In fact, I didn't even see any mullet today, which is quite unusual for here. But I've had plenty of fun in the meantime, on the lures and on the float as well. We've had a few garfish, a few mackerel, a few wrasse, and a couple of black bream. So it's been really, really good, excellent fun. I couldn't recommend it anymore. I mean, this is what fishing is all about. You don't have to catch the biggest fish. It's coming out, having fun, keeping yourself out of trouble and occupied. So I'd like to say thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have liked it, then please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to my channel, then go check out some of the other videos. And if you like what you see, then please hit that subscribe button. That's going to be all for me today. I'm going to get home, sort these fish out, and maybe have a fish supper tonight. So it's been excellent fun. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.